Welcome back to the channel, everyone. For those of you who are new here, my name is Jane, and this video is a weekly love tarot scope for the week of Friday, November 4th. So this video is going to be separated into two segments. The first segment is going to be for those of you who are married or are in established connections and relationships. And the second segment is going to be for those of you who are single or are in some kind of a situationship. So all the timestamps will be found in the description box and the comment thread down below for easy access. So go ahead and take a moment, navigate there, and I'll see you in just a second. All right, so this segment is going to be for those of you who are married or are in established connections. All right, now we are doing a pick a card. We have three piles. We are using all aura quartz this week. So we have a blue aura quartz, a pink or a purplish aura quartz, and then we have a yellow aura quartz. So go ahead and take a moment, feel your way through if you need to. If you don't usually feel intuitively drawn toward a pile, that's perfectly fine. I always say you can just randomly select a pile, and chances are there will be a message in there for you somewhere. And again, timestamps in the description box and the comment thread down below. Pile number one, you guys selected the blue aura quartz, so let's go ahead and dive right in and see what this message is for you. Oh, starting off with the Lovers. Well, this is a really fantastic energy for those of you who are coupled. You know, I think with this Scorpio energy that's at play right now, right? We have the Sun and Venus and Mercury all in Scorpio. We are building up to an eclipse this week happening on the 8th, so just 4 days away. And both Taurus and Scorpio, which is our eclipse axis right now, there are deep levels of trust, or rather the theme of trust and loyalty is really, really big right now. And also intimacy and connecting with one another through love making, all right? Through actually having sex, through being together, and through deep intimate moments, whether that's deep conversation or just holding one another or holding space for one another even. And so I feel like this is a week where there's a lot of potential for you to feel very, very close to your partner and to feel like you really are seeing a deeper aspect of them, and they get to see a much deeper aspect of you. It's almost like peeling back a lot of those artificial or superficial layers that sometimes we need those. I'm not saying those are bad, but sometimes those superficial, artificial things, they're needed for us to go about our life to a certain degree, right? We still have to interact with people, and sometimes a lot of interactions are on the surface level, and that's fine. But I think this is a chance for you guys to peel those layers back, to really get in touch with each other in a more magical way that is void of any artificiality. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what these moon cards have to say. We have step out of your comfort zone and you are very close to achieving your goal. Now, intimacy this week, you know, it may feel a little uncomfortable. We have this North Node, which is beautiful because we do have that eclipse happening in Taurus with the North Node. So there is growth here through intimacy, through love, through deep communication. There is growth. And when there is growth, it usually can be a little uncomfortable. You know, it can force you to be more vulnerable, and that can sometimes, you know, expose feelings like shame or embarrassment or guilt. Fear obviously is a big part of that. But I think once you do that, once you step over that threshold together and you feel truly supported together, I like this, you're very close to achieving your goal. And I don't necessarily see that as meaning the two of, like, you have a goal within the relationship, but rather the two of you have a goal outside of the relationship, meaning you are going to go out and make something happen together. You're going to support one another in certain endeavors, and you are going to really accentuate your contribution in the world. And that's done through greater layers of trust and loyalty, through unbendable partnership. Now, if you are in a relationship that's going through a hard time, probably it's because one or both of you is resisting this desire to get closer. And there's pushback because this is scary. You know, it's not an easy thing to just like, okay, here's all my vulnerabilities. And, you know, a lot of people feel very embarrassed about stuff. They feel weak. They don't want you to see them as being weak. They don't want you to see them as being less than what the expectations have been, right? And they don't want to fail. And so they may try to stay strong, although I think the strongest thing really is going to be to let down those walls. But if you are having a hard time, chances are it's because one person is trying to reach out and trying to be there, and the other person is not allowing that. So that may need to be something that is addressed within the connection. You're very close to achieving your goal. And I feel like you can tell that healing is about to happen or it's going to happen. And it's really just a matter of going through this process together and allowing that to be the case. So let's pull out a couple other oracle cards here. We have embrace your emotions. Yeah, allow your feelings to surface and be accepted. Well, there you go. I mean, that's like a little on the nose. Sometimes these tarot and oracle cards can be eerily on point. Like I say, I don't want to keep reiterating myself, but that may be very difficult for some people. Now, you guys did choose the blue, which is associated with that throat chakra. So there is going to be a need to communicate. And with Mercury in Scorpio right now and Mars retrograde in Gemini, communication, it's not, like I said, it's not just like walking in, hey, how was your day? And, you know, oh, how's this project going? And like that's all this superficial stuff. Not saying it's not important and not saying you can't always or you can't ever do that. But I think right now, people, human beings, and what they are personally going through, they need something so much more than that. And I think actually the more superficial the conversation, the more lonely a person is likely to feel. All right, so hopefully both of you can really reach each other on that level so that neither one of you has to feel lonely. Because I think feeling lonely while you are in a partnership is often one of the hardest things. It's one of the hardest places to be with, because it's like that place where you're supposed to not feel lonely, right? So the deeper, the better. The deeper the conversation, the more vulnerable the conversation, the better. Rebuild. Oh, I love that for the Scorpio season, because that's so often what we go through during this time. We have to tear something apart so that we can rebuild it better and stronger and more unbreakable than before. You're achieving your goal and you're rebuilding something. So it's not like all of this is just because of emotion, right? There's actually goals that you're wanting to attain. There's places you want to go. There are things that you want to experience in this life together. And if there's been something that's been blocking because there's been too much pride or too much ego or too much faking, right? Maybe people have been faking something, right? Faking excitement or enthusiasm about, wanting something or whatever the case may be. You can't keep doing that right now, not in this season. I don't think the astrology is going to let you. But it's like the more truthful you can be, the better off everyone is going to be, and the more likely you are to come closer together. Okay, so I'm going to pull out this last card here, which is clear the air. Okay, well, maybe there is something that the two of you are needing to air out. Like if there is an elephant in the room, if there's tension, please do not keep tiptoeing around it. That is not what the astrology is wanting us to do. Like I say, this is not a time for superficiality. You have to go into the problem. You have to say the hard things, and you have to hear the hard things sometimes, right? Because that's the only way that connections can deepen. If someone can just deflects, like if every time a conversation is necessary and someone just saying, deflect, like they don't absorb anything, it can be so challenging for that relationship to grow and evolve and blossom in any way, shape, or form. And so if you can sit down and say the words and listen and hear and speak and do all those things, chances are the two of you will get closer than you've ever been. And it can be monumental in all of life experiences, you with your family, you with your finances, and you in your career. All right, so this is a beautiful time for you. And I wish you absolutely nothing but the best for this amazing eclipse, which we have coming up here on the 8th, conjunct Uranus in Taurus. Once that starts to subside, chances are we are going to be able to move forward much more clear, with more clarity rather. Okay? All right. Thank you so much, Pile 1. I love you. Have an amazing week, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, pile number 2, you selected the pink or purplish aura quartz. So let's go ahead and see what we start with here. Okay, we start with poverty. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean your actual financial situation, okay, although maybe for some, but I think right now there is a feeling of scarcity within the relationship. And that can be absolutely accentuated by the fact that we have scorpionic energy right now up with the south node. Now, it's not just Scorpio, all right? It's the fact that it's the south node. We had Venus come up into a conjunction, although she's separating off of the south node right now, but now we have the sun in a conjunction and Mercury making its way as well. So if there is a feeling of scarcity and lack, especially specifically in the more emotional realm of the connection, meaning someone is not providing emotionally, or someone is not providing, I mean, maybe there could be money stuff too, I'm not gonna lie, right? All this Scorpio, Taurus, these are the 2 money signs of the zodiac. So if there are financial problems that you two are facing, or one of you is facing, that will likely be highlighted. But it's not highlighted for the sake of you to focus on it as a problem, but to rather approach it as though you are going to start finding solutions, right? This is not about focusing on the bad. It's like when you ride a bike and you say, I don't want to hit that tree, don't hit that tree, don't hit that tree. And then your bike sort of naturally gravitates in toward that tree, right? We're not trying to focus on the very thing that we're trying to not do. All right. So we have to kind of look a little bit opposite of the problem. We have to look toward potential solutions. And I think for you guys there, because this is the pink and there's a deep connection with that heart chakra with the pink color, but it's also kind of purplish as well. So I'm kind of thinking heart chakra with crown chakra. So there is a need for compassion, and there's a need for receptivity within the connection as well. So let's see what else comes out here for pile number 2. We have nothing is yet set in stone. Beautiful, which means you are not in a permanent situation. Bring love into the situation. Well, there you go. And maybe this is more emotional, okay? It's like someone is needing deeper emotional availability and emotional support, especially if you are going through something difficult in life. If you've hit up against some sort of obstacle in some other area of your life, you may need to rely upon that other person. I'm telling you, where you are now is absolutely not permanent, but it does depend on choices that are being made right now. It depends on how willing you are to commit. And I have felt for the past few weeks, actually really since Libra season, the beginning of Libra season, so really back in September now, this has been an opportunity for us to commit to things within ourselves, not so much with other things or other people, but in the more intimate aspects of our lives. And so the question here that I would ask you, the person who is watching, is, are you truly 100% committed to this relationship and to the strength of this relationship? Because sometimes we get so burdened. We get so burdened by outside things that sometimes we lose sight of what's truly important. Like, for example, if you are having big financial issues, sometimes we let that take too much power, right? It's too much power over us. So this is about eliminating the things that don't really have power, but that maybe we've allowed to have power over us, eliminating those things and focusing on the absolute good and the absolute best. To focus on each other as human beings going through a specific journey. You have yours, they have theirs. And to know that in time, this will change. And it will. It absolutely will change. So let's see what else comes out to give us a little bit more information here. Miracles and blessings. Everything has its gift. Okay, so this is one of those cases of perspective. Our perspective is so important. Are we going to be able to view something that's happening as being a good thing? Or are we so focused on the fact that it's not what we wanted? You know, the wanted versus unwanted is such a tricky thing. Focusing on what is unwanted and saying, oh, I don't want it, therefore it's bad, usually makes everything that much harder. But if we go through something that is unwanted as an opportunity for learning and to accept that there are lessons and things that can bring wisdom into our lives, if we can do that, then there really aren't any problems. There are only learning opportunities, right? There are no mistakes. It's only an opportunity to learn. That's it. Do we see the miracles in these things? Some people aren't going to be able to. If you are a little bit more spiritually inclined and you have a greater degree of faith, then that's going to be a lot easier. It's hard when you're in a relationship when maybe you tend to have more faith and more compassion versus a partner. If they are so focused on the cold, hard facts of their reality right now, they may just keep piling on the fear more and more and more and more, and therefore creating deeper degrees of separation within the connection. This cannot be done by only a single person. Bring love into the situation. In a relationship, it has to be done by both. You know, and so you may find yourself, some of you, in a situation where the two of you recommit to one another, you commit to solutions and you commit to possibility, or you may find yourself drifting further apart. Scorpio season is very challenging that way, not to mention with the eclipses in here as well, not to mention the fact that Saturn is involved in this upcoming full moon eclipse. It's in a square, which is a very difficult angle with this eclipse. And it's really asking us to put an end to things that are keeping us from our own liberation, you know? So a lot of things are going to be very clear. If you're in a healthy relationship, there can be beautiful things. But if you are in an unhealthy relationship, it is likely that something is going to illuminate for you for sure. See, coming together, this is what we like to see. This is what we want to hear, is that the two of you are going to commit to coming together. But again, there's a lot of free will involved here. And you have your free will and they have their free will. So what I would suggest is pay very close attention to how your partner utilizes their free will. How do they communicate and what are the actions that they take to back that up? If the actions and the words don't necessarily match, that's information for you to pay attention to. If they do match, then congratulations, you found an amazing person and it's, you know, a really good thing for you to stick through it. Let's pull out one last card here. What else for pile number 2? What else does pile number 2 need to know here? We have defense mechanisms. You know, I saw this a little bit in pile 1 as well. Just, you know, if there's a problem, you know, some people, they put up these walls. You know, because they're afraid to deal with it. They're afraid to confront it. They're afraid to communicate because what it means is exposure. And if someone is trying very, very hard to not be exposed, even if they love you, even if they've known you forever, it doesn't matter. We all go through these times when sometimes being exposed is just too uncomfortable. So we tend to put up our mitts, right? We tend to fight back and we tend to push back against something. So if in an effort to come together and work together, someone is putting up their defense mechanisms, this can make a very strange and awkward dynamic, and it is likely to not be very productive. But know that there is pain behind this. I think that we, as a collective, we have so much psychological information available to us via social media, via books, via all sorts of avenues, and so we're all kind of like mini psychologists to a degree, where we're at this point now where we can look past behavior to like the real root. And we say, oh, well, that's their pain, or that's their shame, or that's their guilt coming through, and so having compassion for that to a degree, but also it's dependent on whether or not they want to acknowledge that themselves. Not everyone is ready to do that. So you're going to be given a lot of information about how this relationship is going to go moving forward. You're going to get a lot of foreshadowing, because if someone is putting up their mitts against you, as a partner, at a time when you're supposed to be coming together and finding solutions and working through things and bringing love in, that's not the job of only one person. This is a co-creator relationship, and you have to be co-creating in order to get positive outcomes. If you're not co-creating, chances are that aggressive energy is going to go inward into the relationship, and it's going to go against each other, and you're going to be pitted against one another, which doesn't make a lot of sense for a relationship. So pay attention to what is happening. Some of you are going to move forward past this, and you're going to have these incredible futures, and others of you, you're just going to look and say, this isn't for me. So it depends on where you are in the spectrum. My hope, obviously, is that you two can come together, because this is like what love is, and this is what the world needs more of. But the fact of the matter is that not everyone is truly ready for that. Okay? So just keep your eyes and ears open, pay attention, and pay attention to how you're feeling, and pay attention to what it is you're wanting your life to be. Okay? All right. I'm going to leave you with that, pile number 2. Thank you so much. You guys know I love and adore you. Have an amazing weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, pile number 3. You guys selected the yellow aura quartz. So let's see what comes through. We start off with occupation. Okay, well, this is kind of a neutral card. Focus on the work, focus on your job. In a romantic relationship, this could just bring in a lot more practicality into the connection. You guys just seem to, you have certain things that need to be done, and hopefully each of you are fulfilling your roles accordingly, and you are living up to the needs of the relationship, and it's not too dependent on one person or the other. I feel like there is an element of productivity and efficiency, which can actually enable the relationship to move forward and progress into the next phase, whatever that is for you. Now, if one person is a little too focused on work, though, and not dedicating enough emotional attention into the relationship, I don't think that's necessarily detrimental so much as it just may be needed at this time. And hopefully in the next couple of weeks, after this eclipse is fully leaving and we have that new moon in Sagittarius, when is that? The 23rd. It's the 23rd, the new moon in Sagittarius at 1 degree. So between November 8th and November 23rd, as that eclipse energy subsides, chances are you will likely, have that opportunity to come back together. So what else for pile 3? We have communication. I saw that in pile 1 as well. And we have prosperity lies ahead. So communicating is key, and prosperity lies ahead. So this tells me that the two of you are being just really, really active and focused on goals. Communicating with one another, hopefully you're doing a really good job with that. With the yellow, we have that solar plexus activation, so there is that need for self-expression, and that can come through more creatively. It's not necessarily a throat chakra activation, so I don't know that this is just talking for the sake of talking. This is more like, this is something that is bubbling up inside of me, and it really needs to come out. If there are any points of contention, now would actually be a good time to talk about it. I actually do like a Mercury in Scorpio, even though it's not necessarily his strongest placement. One of the reasons why I like it is because we get all of the BS out of the way, right? We peel back all of the artificial and superficial layers, and we can get to like the real thing that's backing everything up, right? The thing that's driving all of the other decisions. So we don't have a lot of filters here. We don't have a lot of superficiality. It's very real, open, and honest, which can be brutal, but at least it's real. And so this is the place that affords us that opportunity to address certain things and move on. And with prosperity, it tells me that that's where you guys are going. Prosperity lies ahead, meaning this relationship is going to continue to evolve in a positive direction, that there is growth on the other end of this. So I don't see any need for pile 3 to be worried about the state of your relationship unless someone is shutting down the communication. If someone is, I don't know, just like if they're like, I don't want to talk right now, or if they're needing more private time than normal, I'm not saying to not give it to them, but if you have an emotional need that's not being met and they refuse to address it and talk to you about it, that could be problematic. But I don't necessarily see that unless the rest of the cards say something like that, but we'll see. Let's pull out the rest of the cards. Treasure your loved ones. It is important to love others deeply. Oh my gosh, I love the scorpionic quality of the way that this deck is reflecting the scorpionic energy right now. Also the Taurian. There's just something very, very deep about love at this time, especially with Venus and Scorpio right now. There is an element of loyalty and trust. There's an element of like you and me against the world type of thing. Maybe not against the world, but you and me thriving in the world. And so much respect. Now, if you're with someone that you don't respect or they don't respect you, likely that will also be accentuated at this time. They may do something or say something that reinforces that lack of respect, and vice versa, reinforces the respect you do have. And usually with enhanced degrees of respect, there comes a deepening of that love. And when someone is living their human journey in such a, what's the word I'm looking, authoritative way, right? Like when we have authority over our lives as individuals, when you have authority over your life and they have authority over their life, and these two people come in and they merge and they decide to work together, when that happens, there's just so much adoration. And hopefully you are at a point in your relationship where you actually truly adore your other person, and hopefully they adore you as well. I feel a deepening of that. It's like the more you can adore one another and admire and respect one another, the further it is you're going to go. I believe that respect is like one of, if not the most important things in a relationship. And it's actually one of the things that, that I see is the cause of so much destruction in relationship. It's just a lack of respect, lack of respect for the other and a lack of respect for self. Okay, I feel like this one wants to come out. Giving and receiving. Okay, beautiful. There's a lot of give and take. And with the occupation, I do feel like there are duties within the relationship that are being taken care of, and that is a form of nurturing the relationship where you both give and receive. There's both a giving and receiving nature from both people. And there's an easy flow, an easy fluidity, an easy give and take. And because of that, there's something so balanced. I feel a lot of balance coming out for you, pile 3. Okay. Now, last card, we have on the same page. Wow, this is a really positive message. I'm so excited for you guys. If you're not on the same page, chances are through communication, you can be on the same page. Relationships, if the expectations are not set properly, or if they need to be adjusted, like there just come those times, where you have to have like those come to Jesus moments, and you got to sit down and you got to figure things out. But again, like I feel actually that the degree of intimacy and even sexual attraction right now could likely be heightened because of the greater degrees of respect. And I love that. It's like how rare that is to have that mutuality. And I feel like you have that right now, or you have the potential to have that. Now, I'm not saying that if you don't really feel it, that your relationship is doomed. I'm definitely not saying that, but I think that that's likely what is going to be growing over the course of the next 4 or 5 months as we approach March. Now, I'm going to keep talking about March over and over and over, because that's the month where we have huge astrological transitions happening, where Saturn moves into Pisces and Pluto comes into Aquarius. So there are just 2 huge things going on. And I think that's going to feel like a real shift in energy. Like we're feeling a lot of the preemptive stuff right now, but that's when it's really going to start to happen, is next March. All right. So getting on the same page now and working through the kinks now is going to set you up for incredible degrees of success for 23 and 24. Okay. All right, Pile 3, I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you so much. You know I love and adore you. Have an amazing weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Welcome to the second segment of this reading for those of you who are single and looking for a relationship, or for those of you who find yourself in a situationship. This is the pick a card for you. So as always, we have 3 piles. We're using all aura quartz today. So we're using a pink aura quartz for pile 1, yellow aura for pile 2, and a blue aura quartz for pile number 3. So take a moment, feel your way through it, or you can randomly select a pile. Either way, the timestamps in the description box in the comment thread down below. See you in just a sec. All right, pile number 1, you selected the pink aura quartz. Let's go ahead and see what comes through. Official person. All right. Now, first impressions, I don't know that you're necessarily dealing with someone who has like a title or a badge. All right. This definitely is like some kind of army general, or, some representative of the state or something like that. I mean, that may be the case, but I actually think what's really coming out here is this notion of respect. This was a theme that came out for one of the married piles as well. And for some reason, I think this is deeply scorpionic. All right. This is about respect. This is about looking for someone and becoming someone that is respectable, someone that has accomplished something, or who has a certain degree of ambition, or who has something to really show for it, or who has just an energy that commands a lot of respect. But this is also someone who doesn't just like there are a lot of people who are very dominant personalities, but they also don't really go anywhere in life, right? You can be dominant and be a deadbeat at the same time. What you're really wanting is someone who has that dominance, authoritative nature, but also someone who is contributing something incredibly positive into the world. They're building businesses, they're contributing to their communities, they have, significant financial situations, they're just doing well. But I think to a degree, that's also something that you're wanting for yourself in your own life too. Like, it's not just you're saying, well, I want these types of qualities in a partner, but it's like, well, I also want to become those things too. There's a really beautiful balance between you becoming a more respectable, quote unquote, type of person. When I say respectable, what I mean is like your own self-respect, and that you're doing good things. All right. There's a reason why someone would adore you, right? That you bring high quality value into the world. And likely you are at this moment trying to make your life better. You may be focusing on your money, or you may be looking at a situation that's been in your life and you're like, you know what? I am so sick of this situation. I'm so sick of the way this is going. I'm tired of the mediocrity here. I'm tired of the way that I've just allowed something to continue going. And actually, this official person is giving me very strong action vibes because, of course, actionable things are, the way we really push through and we progress and we improve. And I feel like you are taking action toward the things that you are getting fed up about. All right, so for the sake of your own self-respect, so that you can attract someone that you respect, right? Because there may be people that you respect, but you're like, well, maybe they won't respect me because of these reasons. And I'm not telling you to shame yourself, but likely if you are feeling shame about something, it means that you're actually wanting to do something about it. So do it, right? So do the things, right? See, a fiery climax approaches. What else? What else for pile 1? Take time to breathe out. Okay, yeah. I don't want to see you I'm saying all these things, but my fear is that someone is going to start to really spiral and be like, okay, I'm not good enough if I don't do this. If I don't take care of it, then I don't deserve it. That's not what I'm saying or trying to perpetuate, even if maybe it was interpreted that way. That's not my intention, okay? The intention is to put the focus on making your life be what you actually want it to be. And if you are in a situationship, the question is how much do you really respect this person? Are you accepting scraps? Are you accepting minimal attention? Are you accepting the 1 foot in, 1 foot out? And if that's the case, and it's not what you really want, then what is it inside of you that is continuing to allow that? And that's what's going to need to be addressed. So take time to breathe out. This is not to make yourself feel worse about yourself in any capacity. It is to help inspire you and motivate you to improve. And I feel like a fiery climax means like you're coming to this point where actually you something is going to be done, and when something is done or taken care of, you officially are put into that next level. And you're no longer going to be in that state of mediocrity in something in your life. And that you're on the way toward excelling. You're on the way to becoming. You're on the way to achieving, which means there are going to be a lot of things left behind. And that may include people, and it may include a bigger dating pool as well. Because maybe you're at that point where you're like, I officially cannot date these types of people anymore. And it's not judgmental, it's vibrational. It's like if someone's not living up to their potential, then what good are they for me if I want to live up to my potential? Right? Like it's very hard for someone who has so much drive and ambition to date someone who is whiny and complaining about their situation and doesn't do anything, right? That's a huge mismatch there in vibration and mindset. It just doesn't go together. So the goal here is to kind of become a person that you yourself respect so that you can attract someone that you respect. Okay? And it's someone that makes you want to continue to grow and to be. When I say to be better, I don't mean that, it's just, I think it's more about achieving more things and continuing to challenge yourself as a human being. Challenges are so crucial for the human state of mind. It's like if we don't have any challenges, life becomes very unbearable, right? It becomes, I don't know, it just becomes weird, So we have true love. This love is once in a lifetime because that's what you really are wanting. The love of your life. Isn't that what? It's not even like fairy tales. It's not even like we were programmed to want this. I think that this is something that our soul, to a large degree, very much wants. We want that acceptance and we want to go on this journey with someone. This is your path to become an official person in your own right, in your own life, to live a respectable life, a life that you yourself respect, is what, it's the path. It is what will bring you that love and that relationship. not this week. I'm not saying it's all going to happen this week, but I do think this week is about committing to becoming that respectable person. It's about becoming that person that doesn't cower to their own potential. Like, we all have these massive potentials, and I know, like, in certain religions and certain esoteric teachings and all this, you know, there's so much about just be content, just accept, you don't have to climb and whatever. But I think there are certain personalities, I think group 1 is a set of that group, right? Certain personalities that they need to continue that evolution more purposefully in order to really enjoy their life, okay? So let's see. What else for pile 1? We have move. Yeah. Well, there you go. Movement. Make the moves, guys. Make the moves. And I said this in, I think it was my weekly astrology horoscope on Wednesday, that we're moving into an astrological period where we are going to need to start doing the hard things. Like, guys, you can do hard things. It's okay. It's time to start doing those. It's time to start taking the really big leaps, making the investments, putting yourself out there. And it's going to be uncomfortable, but like in the best way. Because I think the comfort became its own prison, and you're starting to be like, oh, all right, I'm starting to realize that maybe I protected myself too much and it went too far the other way. So for the sake of balance now, I am going to need to make these big moves. And when it comes to love and it comes to your career and your finances, like, this is all encompassing. This is entire lifestyle type of stuff. Huge improvements for pile 3, finding balance, exactly, because that's what I just said, right? You were out of balance. You know, and Libra and Scorpio season accentuate that every year. They always accentuate the ways that we have been out of balance. This is your chance, you know, this is your chance to make that commitment within yourself and to say, I want to go here. And actually start pulling the triggers with things, like I say, making the investments, and just like really get that momentum going. Guys, you're going to need that momentum for next year and into 2024. I promise you, you will need that momentum. So please get it started now. You will not regret it. Okay? All right, pile number 1. I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, pile number 2, you guys selected the yellow aura quartz. So we start with unexpected income. Well, this is really fantastic for any context, rather. There could be actual money coming in for you, which would be amazing. But I think because this is a love reading, I actually am feeling it could be more about unexpected attention. Getting unexpected attention. Actually, can I put a personal story in here? Do you guys mind? Like, I was just at the grocery store yesterday, and like some guy just walked up to me. I mean, I wasn't like interested or anything, but some guy just walked up to me and started, you know, giving me romantic attention that I had honestly have not felt in a very, very long time. And I think that it could be that random. Like, you go to the grocery store, you go to run an errand, you go, you know, to visit a client at their office, whatever the case is. And all of a sudden you may be noticing people looking at you or people approaching you in a different kind of way. And it may be because you are starting to shift, because you are growing, you're evolving, you're improving in certain ways. And when you have that acceleration, when you have that type of movement in your life, it is very, very common for people to be drawn and attracted to you. It doesn't mean you have to necessarily like do something about it. Like, it doesn't mean you have to go on a date with everybody. It just means that you need to, you know, acknowledge the fact that the vibration is different. Maybe you're not rejecting people vibrationally. You know, I think some people, they have this like screw off kind of energy about them, and then they wonder why no one approaches them. It's like, well, your aura is all out of whack, right? You're sending the wrong signals, and people aren't dumb. We're all animals. Like, we can all tell, right? Whether we're conscious of it or not is different. But like, if you're sending a screw off kind of attitude out there, don't talk to me, don't bug me, they won't, you know? And so I think that the unexpected attention is an indication that you're starting to warm up, and the frequency is starting to be a lot more receptive. Oh, look at that. A win-win outcome is forecast. Confidence is key to your journey. It's like the more unexpected income you receive, the more confident you'll be. And it's going to be this continual positive feedback loop. It's going to get bigger, more confidence, more attention, more confidence, more attention, more confidence. This is not about ego, though. Please do not misconstrue the message. It is not ego. This is soul, your soul becoming like there's a greater degree of permission that you are giving your soul to expand. That's what's happening. You're giving yourself permission. And it's like the more attention you're getting, the more permission you give. And the more you give, the more you contribute. And the more you contribute, the more attention you get, and it grows and grows and grows and grows. And I think you are beginning an incredible new path of giving and receiving. And I love that with the scales that are coming out with that win-win outcome being forecast with this other card. Look, you're going to win. The world is going to win. The world is going to be a better place. Whoops, I'm sorry. I accidentally kicked my stool. I like to put my foot on a stool while I'm doing these. But there is this win-win forecast, and there is going to be, I think someone is going to stand out is what I'm hearing. There's going to be someone that's going to stand out. And as you're doing these beautiful growth activities in your life and you're making things more manageable in your life and whatnot, things are going to start gravitating towards you, which means you're going to have a greater selection. And there is going to be someone that stands out. Now, I will say that for those of you who are in situationships right now, my guess is that the reason why you're here watching this, because you care about whether or not this situationship is going to go anywhere, chances are you're a little bit more invested than the other person. Okay, now that may not be entirely the case, but wherever you are, I think the information that you need about whether or not this situationship is really going to continue is going to be made blatantly clear. I actually think situationships, people are starting to tire of them. And as Saturn enters into Pisces next year, people are going to start giving up on them because because Pisces wants the fairy tale. You know, it doesn't want to settle. It wants perfection. It wants the beauty. And there's going to be an added emphasis on wanting that beauty. And so anything less than the fairy tale is going to get weeded out. And I think people are starting to notice that now that Saturn is officially moving direct and he's moving toward Pisces, where he'll enter into Pisces next March. And as he does so, you're going to get more and more and more clear with yourself about whether or not this is really what you want. Okay? And as you start getting attention from other sources, you may start to believe in greater possibility. All right? You are oh my gosh, I can't even believe this card just came out. You are limitless. You can do anything you choose. And you can attract whatever. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is so beautiful. I promise you, the more and more you focus on the good things in your life, the more and more you receive that positive attention, that positive reinforcement, the more and more you receive these unexpected things, the more you allow yourself to express, the more you are going to grow in every capacity, financially, in your career, and in your relationships, and even a healing with your family relationships and your friendships, all of that. This is all encompassing. What a beautiful notion for pile number 2. Did I say pile 3 before? I meant pile 2. What a beautiful notion for pile number 2. Okay, that one. Just breathe. Okay. This is happening organically for you. Okay, I don't know how much you really have to do. The only thing I think you have to do is allow this to happen. If you start rejecting the good things, like if someone wants to give you money and you're like, oh no, that's going to be too much work or whatever the case is. If someone is trying to give you something and you reject it, a lot of this could just go away. And one of the reasons why you might reject it is because you're telling yourself you're not ready. But I'm telling you, the people who start to make the big leaps over the next couple of months and make the big steps toward whatever they're trying to progress in their life, those are the ones that are going to end up like really on track. All right. If you continue with the little baby steps, you can still get there. But I actually think the universe is supporting these big leaps and bounds right now. Okay, final card. Which means you may need to make some hard decisions and actually act on them, right? Execute, right? You make a decision and then you execute. This is all about execution right now. All right? Curious about you. Unexpected. Curious about you. Let people be curious, you know? That's something that you can receive. Now, obviously, if they're giving you the super creeps, you know, I'm not telling you to just allow everything, but I am saying if you allow people to approach you and you allow people to give to you and you allow people to, like, a lot of people will reject compliments. Oh, you look so pretty, or that dress looks amazing on you, or whatever the case is. You're like, oh no, it's just, nah. Please don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Accept it and allow your confidence to be boosted. All right, that's going to be a key. Your confidence is so critical right now. All right, I'm going to leave you with that. Pile number 2. Thank you so much. Have a great week. Happy eclipse, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, pile number 3, you guys selected the blue aura quartz, starting with judication. Okay, so here we have a judge, and there's 2 people in front of the judge here, which tells me that you are needing to make some kind of a decision, or you are waiting for someone else to make a decision. Now, if you're in a situationship, you could be waiting for that other person to really commit to you. The question is that really what you want to be doing right now? Do you really want to be waiting for someone else to decide whether or not they want you in their life? All right, you have to make some good judgment calls right now. And the thing is that you know what the good judgment calls are. You know what that entails. You know what that means. You know what that requires of you. The question is are you actually going to do it? That's the real question. And that's what's going to separate the people, you know, who want more out of life, who want to enjoy and experience more things, and the people who want to just keep going around on the merry-go-round. All right, you have to make the decision. Are you going to keep going around on the merry-go-round or not? And if you don't want to, you have to jump off, and you're going to have to jump off at some point. And it doesn't matter when, it doesn't matter which direction, you just have to get off, okay? So there are going to be doors opening for you that are going to enable you to do this, especially as we come off of the eclipse with Taurus, all right? Well, we're building up to it over the next few days. Obviously, that's happening on November 8th, early in the morning. November 8th, we build up, and then we start to wane off of that energy as we make our way toward the new moon in Sagittarius on November 23rd. All right, that's happening at 1 degree of Sagittarius. Now, the reason why I'm bringing up that moon, obviously, it's Sagittarius. So these are new moon, creative cycle, new beginnings for expansion, which is Sagittarius, okay? So the doors are going to start opening come late November, early December. And then we have a big full moon conjunct Mars in Gemini on December 7th. And that's going to demand action as well. So this is why I'm preempting you guys. I'm saying we are now having to take the big leaps. We can't just baby step our way through this anymore. And as we make our way into 2023, we're going to be so glad that we had that momentum going, because year number 7 can be a little bit challenging sometimes, all right? Depending on which astrology system you're using, some people associate the number 7 with K2, which is the south node. Some people associate this with Neptune, all right? So it's a really spiritual year. There are a lot of spiritual lessons to be made, but it can make the more tangible and the more material aspects of life a little bit more difficult. And then as we head into year number 8, which is ruled by Saturn, we can actually have a little bit more of that materialism, and we'll be so glad that we, started now Don't let your past hold you back. Yeah, you can't hang on, because the past adjustments, oh my gosh, I can't even believe how on point these cards are. Don't let your past hold you back, and adjustments are required. This is what I mean. You have to get off the merry-go-round. You have to do it now. All right? I think, and you know it. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, because we're all in that position. We're all doing it. We're all looking at some area of our lives and we're saying, this is not acceptable to me. It may not be everything, all right? And I know you're single and you're looking for love right now, but this may not have anything to do with love. This may be your financial situation. It may be your living situation. It may be, your career track. Maybe you're at a job that you hate, whatever the case is. But you got to jump ship. And I'm not telling you to put yourself in dire straits. I'm not telling you to go financially bankrupt to do something. All right. But you have to start figuring out how to do this. And the universe is requiring you to put effort into this. This is not a time of surrendering and letting the divine take the lead. No, because I think the universe has already done that earlier this year. And now it's up to us to take action accordingly. And next year, we'll move back into that more surrendered place as we go through Aquarius and Pisces season, all that beautiful la-di-da type of stuff. And we'll be able to surrender and let go a little bit. But right now, we need to take action. We are in Scorpio season. This is a Mars-ruled season. Okay, and we have actually a pretty strong Mars, even though he's retrograde, he's still pretty strong being in a masculine sign, right? Gemini. So we got to figure things out. We got to take matters into our own hands to a degree, not completely eliminating our faith, but we got to do something. So forgiveness, nothing is gained by holding on to past disappointments. Don't let your past hold you back. We have to find a way to let go. And I don't want to minimize some of your own personal experiences, because I know some people have gone through a lot. Terrible childhoods, terrible divorces, terrible relationships. I don't want to minimize the effects of those. And I'm not telling you can't continue to heal from those. And that may be a lifelong journey for you. But at a certain point, we have to decide whether or not we are going to let those things control us. And are we going to allow those people who are involved in those things that may not even be in our lives anymore, but are we going to allow the memories of those things still dictate whether we thrive or not? So, decisions, adjudication, good judgment. And the thing is when you start admitting that you know what you know, your whole life opens up. Reach out. If you are needing to reach out to another person for offering forgiveness or whatever the case is, maybe getting I don't know what the case is, but maybe you're needing to reach out for help. Maybe you're needing to reach out for mentorship. Maybe you're needing to reach out for guidance or advice, counsel. Please do so. I think maybe one of the feeling that I'm getting intuitively is that some of you have been trying to do it on your own for far too long. And actually, to be honest, that's maybe one of the beautiful things about Uranus coming through Taurus. Taurus is such a self-reliant sign. Taurus and Chiron both, right? So self-reliant, so dedicated to being independent and strong in their own right. But I think right now a lot of those wounds are being healed so that we can open up and let others help us. Uranus is here to bust up our self-reliance and say, you need other people. It's here to shake us straight, right? You need other people. You need their intelligence. You need their wisdom. You need their love. You need their guidance. You don't have to do this alone. And I feel like that potential, that energy is very, very strong. And you are starting to say, okay, maybe I can't do it alone. Maybe I will reach out. Okay. Look within. Beautiful. I think you are I mean, you are looking within, but you're looking within for the strength, not to identify the trauma, for the strength and the will to jump off this merry-go-round. All right, you're just psyching yourself up right now. Doing the hard things is 100% going to lead you to where you want to go. There is not a doubt in my mind. 100%. Look within for the strength, for the fortitude, for the perseverance, for the commitment and the loyalty to yourself. You'll be so happy you did. Okay? All right, pile 3, I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend. Good luck with the eclipse on November 8th. I'll actually see you before that for the weekly bump on Monday, but still sending out the good wishes for that. And I'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.